Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is Indy Fanatics, your home for IndyCar content with weekly podcasts and feature videos. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and to another episode of the IndyCar Podcast. And we're early.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday.
It's Monday. You were going to say it.
Yeah.
Then I said it.
And then I continued to say
We
it.
both said it. It's a Monday. You're here. And you're like, what's going on? Why are Indy Fanatics releasing a video? So, just a quick explanation. What's going on here? We're going to go trial a new format. If you absolutely hate it, then obviously let us know in the comments and we'll bin it off. But if you like it and like how it's going to go, please also do let us know as feedback. So if you follow us on social media, everyone who kind of voted either on Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube as well, in the polls that I did to go whether you want our race review previews on a Monday or a Wednesday, thank you for doing that. Well, we took that and then we took it one stage further because I think another comment said reviews on Monday and previews on Wednesday. So we're kind of going to trial that out when we've got back-to-back race weekends. So today is going to be a race review for the GP St Pete that we had. And Wednesday, you'll get another episode, hopefully around about the 10-minute-ish video. So it's kind of smaller, more bite-sized for you. Looking ahead to the action at obviously our first couple of oval races of the season with a Texas doubleheader.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Stephen. Do you want to explain what we're going to do today, how the review's going to look?
Today, we're going to look at the key top 5. We love our top 5s. Key moments of the race. Then we'll be looking at our star performers. Maybe looking back at our star performer predictions. And then looking at the best rookie performance of the race. There we go.
Then we hand it back to you guys and get involved in the comments. But first, before we get in those top 5 moments, we'll do a quick roundup of qualifying, how the grid shaped up going into the race at St. Pete the weekend. So we had in kind of Q1 spins from 2 experienced guys. Dixon had a couple of spins round, but still managed to get into Q2. But Will Power wasn't as lucky, and his spin, I believe, was on the last corner. He was out.
Yeah, he kind of just went over the grass. I think he hit a wall early on and then just fluffed the whole thing.
Absolutely. So for last year's pole sitter, it certainly wasn't a great performance.
I think he described it as his worst ever qualifying performance. There we go.
Will, not mixing his words. We then obviously got into Q2 and, you know, a few surprise missions. Palou made it into there, but could only manage P10. Scott McLaughlin improving, and we'll talk about that later in the episode as well. Outside the top 10, again on that aspect. VK again qualifying well, finishing just outside the Fast 6, being in P7, and Scott Dixon not being able to make it. It was the pace that had shown from Chip Ganassi at Barber. Well, we had no Chip Ganassi
nowhere near
in the Fast 6.
Yeah.
No, Scotty was probably the closest, but yeah, struggled all weekend and wasn't happy with the balance of the car. But we'll still come on to Scotty as it goes on. So, and then we get into the Fast 6. Great kind of inclusions. Bourdais, you know, he's always going to be so strong at St. Pete. He made it into the Fast 6, qualifying P5 in the end. Pato, again, the only one really, he was the only one from Barber who's made both Fast 6 so far of the season. And, wow, Penske bounced back. Newgarden, P3. Pagenaud, P4. But, on the front row, another guy who bounced back, Colton Herta, started from pole position. And the British driver, Jack Harvey, we said he was one to look out for this season, and a fantastic qualifying position for him, starting P2 on the grid. So, awesome performance for that. But that's the qualifying. You don't score any points on qualifying. You do. You get pole position for qualifying. You do. So Colton's got the first points of the weekend. But now it's the race. Top 5 moments. Here they are. Number 1, Stephen.
Bam. First one is a painful one. First lap of the race. Turn 1 is a very treacherous point, but everyone made it fairly unscathed. Bourdais I think he had a bit of front wing damage, but I don't think it was too much performance-wise because he never changed it. For the whole race, he had his front wing camera hanging off.
I think it definitely affected things, but
it couldn't have been too significant. Otherwise, they would have taken the thing in the pit stop and changed the front wing.
Doing an extra pit stop would have just hurt him.
Well, if you did it when you changed stats.
No,
so surely it wasn't costing him too much time. Maybe it was just mostly superficial damage. But the main thing from lap 1, championship contender, Pato O'Ward, just went flying backwards. And that summed up the rest of his race, just going backwards. Can't actually remember where he finished in the end. I think it was like P20,
P19, I believe.
Maybe.
P19.
A shocking day for Aaron McLaren. I think Rosenfist's still getting to grips with the car. He's struggling with the heavy steering that the McLaren has compared to what he had at Chip Ganassi. But first lap, everyone made it mostly unscathed, but Pato went flying backwards. Disappointing day for him.
Certainly was. And how the race then developed. In Jack Harvey, after that impressive qualifying performance, well, he had got overtaken from Joseph Newgarden fairly in the early stages of the race, and then Herta had already gone shot off into the distance, and that all, as we'll come on to, has pretty much summed up the day for Colton. But Newgarden was the one chasing in pursuit of the Andretti Autosport driver. But Jack Harvey went long on the first stint, being on those sticker red tyres on the first stint, and Simon Pagenaud couldn't find a way past, and that just kind of bunched the field close together as they were weaving through the streets of St. Pete. But still impressive. And Pagenaud was able to overtake in the pit stops on the first one, but Jack, strong performance throughout. I mean, he's competing against Andretti Autosport and 2 Team Penske cars to still, finish within the top 4 in that aspect was a really great thing. And I know they'll be disappointed not to secure a podium, the Meyershank team, but they are still, this is only their second full-time season in IndyCar, and it's just such a great partnership between them and Jack Harvey. I think we're going to see more strong results throughout the season for sure.
Yeah. Moving on to point number 3. We've already mentioned him so far, not for the right reasons, and that's Will Power, who had exited Q1, finished in did he start P22nd? P22?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. P21, P23, P22.
He started at the back.
The absolute fight back from Will Power. We know he's strong around St. Pete. We know Team Penske is strong around St. Pete. But to go from that far back to P8 in the end?
P8 in the end.
Was just incredible. Yeah, there's not really much else to say. It was just a very strong drive.
For a track, obviously street circuits always traditionally are harder to overtake on because they're narrow circuits. It's more, qualifying is such a big one. But Will Power, I think even the commentary described it as a Scott Dixon-esque performance in terms of he's had a really bad day on the Saturday. It's a mistake, but he has definitely damaged limitation and retained second place in the championship.
Yeah.
After that. And, they benefit. It was important for him to recover because, Colton Herta and Joseph Newgarden obviously had really bad Barber races where Will finished second. Palou still managed to retain because you do get those extra 10 points. Although I'm not sure, actually, because I'm pretty sure that was when Palou was running 13th, but Palou finished 17th in the end. So probably should check that. Wait, pause. There will be a live check. For you, it'll be a second. For us, it'll be however long it takes for us to find out what the championship standings are. We're back. Kind of. Palou still leads, but Will Power is only 2 points behind after that recover. Definitely benefited from the late cautions, but he made overtaking look easy on a difficult track.
Yeah, still keeps hold of second in the championship standings. So, man, job done. 4,
though, is probably our controversial points of the set. Well, I thought they were just both racing incidents. And if anything, the Andretti Autosport guys were probably a little bit... They were both defending positions. with a kind of lunge from guys who were clearly quicker than them at that stage. And, they defended hard and paid the consequences for it.
Paid the price.
No, don't get any hate from any Hinch or Rossi fans in there.
Just get it over with.
Okay, so Hinch collided with Takuma Sato through corner. Takuma made a lunge. He described it on Twitter as getting Sato'd.
That's Hinchcliffe, yeah.
Yeah, I would actually say that this was one of, they were both fighting wheel to wheel. Hinch just could have allowed more room on the inside. I know you're looking to defend the position, but, it was a very narrow gap. They could have easily gone 2x2 through that corner, and he would have had the inside line for the next corner. But yeah, aggressive. Got a puncture from that, and that pretty much summed up the rest of his race. Had an incident with Ed Jones later, but his race was pretty much done from that point. And then Alexander Rossi wasn't having the best of races, but was still in it, still had kind of pace in it. Coming out of the pits, he was obviously on cold black tyres, and I believe it was Rahal who was on kind of hot tyres. They were already up to temperature, and he kind of sent it through the inside, and I just think Rossi turned in a little bit too much. He again suffered the same fate, got a puncture on his day, and ended up, because it got a flat halfway through, run Graham Rahal off. But there was respect between the two.
Yeah.
Both incidents were racing incidents, and that's what's going to happen on a street circuit, isn't it? But damn, wasn't a good day for Hinch or Rossi, and Rossi certainly
following similar fates to how last year St Pete went.
Yeah.
Both just having terrible races.
Yeah.
But not the start they wanted, but maybe it can only get better, right? It can only get better for them.
The only way is up.
But I was going to say the other side of the Andretti garage, but there's multiple, there's lots of Andretti. It doesn't quite make sense. But there was still hope for Andretti, because Colton Herta from lap 1, starting on pole, just dominated. I think there was only 2 laps they didn't lead, I think. Maybe there was 3 laps he didn't lead. It was just incredible. Dominated the first and second stints. No one could touch him. And in the third stint, he had to fight off 2 restarts from Joseph Newgarden on the quicker, sticker red tyres, held his nerve, didn't put a foot wrong, and came out on top. Absolute dominant display. And what a bounce back from last week, getting taken out by Joseph Newgarden. No fault of his own. Puts his name in that championship fight still.
And interesting one on balance as well. We all thought, us included, that, it would be Rossi and Herta up there for Andretti. And obviously we've still got so much of the season, so it's far too early to go from there. But early signs are looking like Herta's the guy with the bottle, that he could seriously mount a championship, go from there. A great recovery, like you said, from St. Pete, but it's dominant. And that moves us on to star performers, and we'll give some honourable mentions for Joseph Newgarden. Again, another guy who bounced back. Very good to score the P2, and spoke about in his interview afterwards. There were kind of half chances that he thought maybe I could have gone for Herta, but he had the championship in mind. Because Barber was the worst start he could have asked for last week on a track that he strung at, he needed to make sure he capitalised and got some strong points. And a 40-point always second was still a very good return for his race. Scott Dixon as well, just doing what Scott Dixon does. Didn't feel comfortable all weekend. They didn't get a setup that he felt comfortable driving, but still finished in the top 5.
Yep.
Just does what Scott Dixon does. He accumulates points, and when he is strong, you can bet he's going to capitalise with at least 1 race win this season. I think that would make it 19 consecutive seasons that Scott Dixon will win a race. We'll bring out that stuff, obviously, when he does it. This is, I've cursed him and he's now
never going to win.
Chip Ganassi teammate, another strong performance from Marcus Ericsson. I think getting P7 in the end, finishing ahead of Will Power. And Takuma Sato, another guy finishing outside the top 10 at Barber. People who are Hinchcliffe fans maybe say it wasn't right for him to be there, but he got the
made
race.
a lot of moves.
He was a racing instinct.
He had one questionable move, but all the other moves were great racing from Sato.
Exactly, and finished P60, and so fantastic. But my star performer can only go to the guy who led, from start to finish. I know, obviously, from pit stops there, but basically from pole, he smashed it. Absolutely smashed it, Colton Herta. What a dominant performance, and what a great race for the young American star who's just hopefully IndyCar can keep him and be a star in IndyCar for many years to come.
Yes, indeed so. My star performer links in with my star predictions. My star performer prediction. That's Simon Pagenaud. I took a long while to think of my star prediction. It turns out I picked the right guy. Very strong qualifying performance and came home with his first podium of 2021. Simon, under pressure. Will Power's just got his contract extension. Simon's running out at the end of the year. He knows he needs a strong year, and this is a great way to start. I know it's the second race of the season, but it's a great way to kick off the season with a strong podium at St. Pete.
Absolutely. We know Pagenaud's strong on ovals as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on at Texas this next weekend as well. Rookie, obviously, was Scott McLaughlin. We both went for Grosjean. Stephen did say, though, that, McLaughlin's experience at the circuit may help him, and I think it did turn out that way.
Yes, yeah.
He looks like he's getting more comfortable, again, finishing on the cusp of the top 10, but, obviously all his Team Penske teammates finishing ahead of him. But it is just an adaptation period, and as he gets there. The ovals are going to be interesting, see how he adapts to. This will be his first competitive oval race, first couple, coming up this weekend. But yeah, very good from there. Grosjean struggled, played bumper cars with the walls a little bit more. And Jimmy Johnson, look, we've said from the start, haven't we? It is just going to be an adaptation period, and a guy who, realistically, he's not only making it hard on himself going to a completely new style of driving at the age of 45, he wasn't really successful on road courses in NASCAR. Ovals were kind of Jimmy's bread and butter, and that's the one racetrack he's not racing in IndyCar. So it is going to be a massive adaptation period. We'll see how it goes. If he can get up competitive and maybe challenging top 10s by the end of the season, I think that's a successful first season for Jimmy Johnson in IndyCar.
Yeah.
Plus, with all the kind of added sponsor and eyes he brings to the series, it is...
Indeed so, yeah. He just needs time.
He needs time. He needs time, guys! But that's it. That's it from us. We'll hand it back to you guys now. In the comments down below, let us know your thoughts on GP St. Pete, your star performer, your thoughts on those kind of top 5 moments. Did you think of the Hinchcliffe or the kind of Rossi Rahal instance any differently to us? Would your top 5 moments have been different? We would love to hear from you in the comments below, and also let us know how you like this new format of review on the Monday. And while we got back-to-back race weekends, you'll be another episode coming out on the Wednesday, looking ahead to the action at Texas. Oh, breathe. I think we're done. Woo! I think we are done. But if you're new around here, haven't done so already, and you like what we do, Stephen, what can they do? Sorry, what can they do? What can they do?
You can like, subscribe, and ding that bell.
Ding it! That's it! We're falling apart. We were going so well. But for now, you Indy fans, keep racing!